So my marginal utility of chicken and rice, I'll put chicken and rice right here. Can plus, sorry about the shakiness, it's really hard to hold the camera and film. Chicken and rice right there, and my total utility is there, and this is 0. So as time passed, I mean, for the first couple of days, yeah, it was great that I was eating chicken and rice, but so that's why my utility was high. But the thing is, like, after a while, it started getting bad, so my utility started to drop as days passed. So let's say this is the 15th day. The reason why it started going higher is because normally at school, for example, let's say, I wouldn't be eating chicken and rice for lunch. I'd be eating a sandwich, and I've been getting bored of those sandwiches. So to have this is fantastic. But then you have it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or not breakfast, but it's just so much, so repetitive, it just gets really bad. Next, our changes because, so let's say, before I used to buy Subway at lunch, and then I used to buy, pretend I bought water bottles and I didn't use my reusable water bottle. So this is my water. Um, for my 15 days with my budget constraint, well, it used to be, let's say like that. This is 0. Um, then after the rule was set up, my budget constraint was lower. So these are my indifference curves. This is A, I1, and this is I2, and this is B. So that's a new one, and the same goes for people in Syria, right? Because for them, they lose money too. Their income drops because they're not working as much because they're focused on rioting and getting the rights that they deserve. So that's why their income isn't that high and their budget constraints drop. That's that. Next we have our GDP. So let's look at some factors. Consumption. When people have less money, we just talked about this, they're not going to want as many products. Let me just change colors here. So this is me taking off a marker with one hand, some practice from the 15-day challenge. Alright, so the consumption will decrease, and the reason for this is because they have lower income. So let's just say lower income, and at the same time, I mean, what is there to buy, right? No one's really producing as much, and at the same time, people start to realize that they don't need so many things because they start to focus on necessities only. Investments now, let's take a look at that. Most companies aren't even spending that much on their businesses, so they're not focusing on new technology to make things faster, because not only do they not have the money for it, but at the same time they don't care. What they care right now about is warfare and getting the rights that they deserve, and yeah, fighting against the government, so rioting. Government spending, on the other hand, will increase, and the reason for this is because they will try to build up their military, right? Their army, which increases government spending. At the same time, though, you could say that it decreases because of they don't care anymore about spending on hospitals and healthcare, unless you're saying that it increases for the healthcare of soldiers, right? Who work for the government, right? So government soldiers. But at the same time, also there's lower education. So people don't attend school anymore, decrease education, that's lower government spending as well. Exports, I mean, no one's going, so no one's going to want to buy anything from Syria because, first of all, they don't have anything to sell. I mean, they do, but not as much. what I'm trying to say, is not as much, and so that's why their exports will decrease, and at the same time, at the same time, their imports might increase because I don't think that they make the guns. They're going to have to import that from somewhere else. So I'll write guns over here, and they're going to import stuff like, I'm not sure. Maybe they'll. It's like if we are at home and we don't want to make food, we buy food from somewhere instead of making it. So let's say people in Syria need food. Instead of making it themselves, increasing that supply themselves, they're going to buy it. So they're going to import food. Yeah. So then we look at structural unemployment of Syria. Their structural unemployment will be how there isn't enough jobs for people. And this makes sense because population growth. So when population growth happens, it just means that there's so many more people, which means so many more people who need jobs. But there aren't many jobs because, first of all, they're getting destroyed by bombings and all that stuff. And second, there aren't really many job opportunities for like people in Syria to begin with. So the number of employed people decreases if you're looking at businesses and stuff like that. But if you're looking at things like the army and soldiers and stuff like that, then employment increases. So the opposite happens here. Unemployment increases, and then again, if you're looking at the army, if you're looking at the army, then it will decrease. Then we're looking at our fiscal policy with government spending. So let's draw our graph. This is, I cannot think right now, aggregate, nope, quantity, no, this is real GDP. This is 0, CPI, sorry for the little blank there. I'm still really sleep deprived from the challenge. This is SAS, LAS, E1. LAS. Did I just... Oh, I just labeled that LAS. This is AD. Apologies. And NRO. Okay, perfect. So now we're saying that... Oh... Well, this is assuming that the economy is in equilibrium. Let's just say now that consumption increases, right? Meaning that people don't have as much money to spend. So the aggregate demand will go down, right? So AD, I don't know why I drew this arrow, but AD, arrow goes here, this is E2. If, let's say now, our economy is below natural rate of output, so this is LAS, this is NRO, this is our real GDP, 0 and CPI, so SAS and AD. Okay, perfect. So this is E1. Let's just say now we're below this because that's how Syria's economy essentially is. And then let's say government spending increases because they need to buy more guns. So this will increase aggregate demand in the economy. And real GDP will increase as a result, but so will prices, right? Next. We look at Syria's